You ready for that? All right. So we will call the meeting to order. Start by calling on trustee Landrieu, the chair of the nominating committee. Start the election of officers.
Okay, this will be an informal motion. Head, Vice Chair, type A, Secretary, Marie. Oh, that's right, Marie. Sorry about that.
That's it.
It's just, I had it first. So that's in the form of a motion. Sorry. Yeah.
Second, that, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain, motion carried. Over to trustee Jesuit.
Thank you. First and foremost, I'd like to thank trustee Bethany Schumann for the outstanding job she's done in the last 2 years. I think she's done a wonderful job for the college representing us and the board meetings as well. So we want to thank you, Bethany.
Absolutely.
And following the order, are there any public meeting comments today? Now, we move on to the educational showcase with student mental health. President Trucker Miller and I believe Eileen.
We're going to just go very briefly over give you a quick review of mental health from the spring semester. You'll recall that we had a contract with Family Counseling Center to provide mental health services on campus during the spring semester. And the counselor from Family Counseling Center has provided us with just a brief overview of what they did, what they saw, and Arlene's going to augment anything I screw up or misstate. So we started, I think, early, right with the beginning of the spring semester. We had 213 appointments. There were 164 scheduled, so that means he had some walk-ins, I assume that means. And you see there that the types of disorders that he saw, the overwhelming majority were generalized anxiety, and then depression was number 2.
Great.
Yeah, it's going to keep doing that all day long. So unless you got a wrench with you and you know how to fix it, you got to live with it. So yeah, it's online. They're not seeing that, but in the room you are seeing a psychedelic show on the screen. So, and then we have bipolar disorder. So we have PTSD, bipolar disorder, depression, generalized anxiety. Those are the 4 main areas that they were caring for. And so this slide just talks about how did the students know where to go? How did they get to the counselors? They were referred. A lot of self-referrals. Arlene's office put out information to the students. Faculty included it in, if they saw fit in their introductory remarks. And so there were a lot of cases of students just being walked down there by staff, and then word of mouth too amongst the students.
And Jeremy, our counselor, also became very involved. He became a familiar face to everyone on campus.
How did we deliver the services? Most of those were one-on-one meetings with Jeremy in the Student Development Center. He also did some virtual meetings with students, and then he introduced a sort of walk and talk approach with some as well. So they weren't just sitting across the desk staring at each other, but having the opportunity to walk around. So these are the areas, and I'm gonna let Arlene expand on this, but these are the general disorders that he saw. We saw the major ones that he treated through the semester, but these were the list of all of them that he chose to share with us anyway.
Yeah, so you can make this available.
Yeah, of course.
What Jeremy was primarily doing was treating students who were distressed at the moment. So that obviously, if there's a disorder or something, it's able to quickly identify what's going on with that student and then make referrals as appropriate to doctors, other professionals, but to handle the situation with the student in the moment. So that de-escalate, help them be able to maybe get back to class or know what strategies they could take to get through the night. But if necessary, also call 911 and get students. And sometimes that happens, just get students from the situation. But also, Family Counseling Center has those extra services that students could be referred to as well. So they could go to the community and they could follow up with a therapist, for example. He does not prescribe, he's handling the student in crisis counseling.
Yeah, so again, these are the types of strategies that he's employing as he's working with the students and what he's trying, as Arlene's already shared, these are the types of things he's trying to work on with the students. These are just some signs of the mental health problems. We won't go through all of those, but we know that this has been a significant concern for our student body really before COVID, but COVID certainly heightened that. And you've heard John talk about that a little bit as well in some of his reports. But this is an area that's receiving significant attention because it's been an issue. I think we talked about it last month as part of the governor's budget and New York State budget this year. They are providing mental health funds specifically to community college campuses to augment what we're already doing. And, so there's a recognition at all levels that this is an issue that needs to be addressed. Obviously, mental health is going to have an impact on performance, school performance, life performance, if you will. And so these are the reasons that he's trying to help them get better. And, he's working on best practices with the students, helping them learn how to set boundaries, practice self-care, and develop a support system. Benefits of good mental health are, the same for all of us, and whether you're a student or not a student. And so that's really why we want to make the investment and make sure that we have these services available for our students and help them really understand what's going on with them and be able to communicate what's going on with them. So as Arlene mentioned, we'll make that available to the board afterwards so you can see that and not see the flashing screen and wonder what it was that was up there. And Arlene's happy to answer any questions you might have about mental health. But
You find more first-year students or second-year students?
We didn't think that going down because of course that's grades with a student, we know that's occurred, but students are confidential. So, we're going to be working towards building some systems in place so we can collect more of that type of data. But we see students coming to him, at least willing to come to him. Some students try to text students that they know they're going through high stress academic situations. That's what just different. There's a lot online. Ask those examples. Think questions. But what he was seeing was on one of the screens is that a student normally has a multitude of areas that can be checked. So they might have depression and anxiety, but they could also have a substance disorder. They might also be dealing with the stress at home. But as far as the traditional age students, there's also still that home effect. They're isolated at home. So their socialization skills not well. So that's why he's getting not referrals to clubs, actually, with good success to get them involved. And he started one support group and is going to be expanding support groups. The support group this year was very exciting. So we be able to that trails with us and see what other needs there are.
Other questions for either Dr. Truckamiller or Elaine?
Yeah, I'd just like to make it's really nice to hear. Being on the social emotional education that they don't, these are definitely barriers to learning. And when I take a look at what it's like to maybe grow up as a young person this time, it is certainly unblues people. And just that sense of having some support, having some ability to really take a look at people who will help you tolerate the uncertainty, I think is so crucial. So it's, fundamentally what matters.
Thank you. We move on to approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of June 20th. And the motion. Motion by Bethany, seconded by Grant. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Stayed? Motion passed. Move on to reports, chairman's report. First and foremost, we have a president's contract coming up. We also have evaluations from the president, you all filled out. Looking through the evaluations, the only one that I see that jumps up is number 18. Delegates authority to staff members appropriate to the position each holds. That would be the only one that jumps out on anybody. Other than that, the evaluation is very good. With that being said, I do have a motion here that the employment agreement between Fulton-Montgomery Community College and Dr. Alberta Truckamiller expires on August 31st, 2024. The Board of Trustees and Dr. Truckamiller have agreed to a new contract for the period of September 1st, 2024 through August 31st, 2027. Terms and conditions of the new contract remain consistent with the agreement as amended July 20th, 2023. I'll have a copy of the employment agreement. The chair recommends that the Board of Trustees authorize the chair and the vice chair to sign an employment agreement, Dr. Truckamiller, effective September 1st, 2024, through August 31st, 2027, on behalf of the trustees, and that is in form of a motion. Have a second. Second. By Trustee Lancho. All those in favor? Aye. Any discussion? Opposed? Abstained? Motion passed. Thank you. That concludes the chairman's report, and we'll move on to the president's report. Dr. Truckamiller.
There, I think, just a couple of items. We are moving to the budget approval process. Met with the Montgomery County committees this week. They're scheduled to have their public hearing next week at 5:50 Tuesday in their chambers. The discussion went well at the committee level. It's supportive. See how that translates into next week. Fulton County has their public hearings scheduled for August 12th. Their meeting starts at 1 p.m. Again, the conversation with the Finance Committee was positive. So hopeful that both of those legislative bodies move forward with approval of our budget for next year, and then we'll submit it to SUNY, and then the SUNY Board of Trustees has the final approval in September. So that's very full on. That said, it never hurts if you have a friend who's an elected official, just encourage them to thank them for their support and encourage them to continue to support the college. We had National Grid on campus today, distributing water and dry ice. They were on campus, I think, around 5:30 this morning, and here until 5 o'clock this evening. So we're happy that they called yesterday and asked for a distribution. So they got some news channels that came out to film and give the college a little positive press on that as well. So that's always good. So in the spirit of being short, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about if it's on your mind or the rest of my time to or
Any other questions for President Trucca-Miller? If not, we'll move on to foundation report with Leslie Lanes.
Mr. Chair, I have two changes. One is our fifth Friday series, which is not going to be on Friday. It's going to be on August 23rd. It's going to have a little bit of a different flair to it, similar to what's here. We're in the process of doing the flyer, so we will make sure that you have that probably by the end of next week, and you can see what the topic is, and if you're interested in attending that breakfast. And the other things are Frawley Gallery, which is going to have its 25th anniversary in the fall, which is great. And a lot of prior artists have been invited. Will be showcasing their artwork. And then the next show following that, which will take place in November, the gentleman's name is, and I know I'm probably going to pronounce it incorrectly, but William Wyatter. And he's quite renowned. It's Wiartr. And if you want to Google him, it's great. He has great information on his website. And that concludes my report. Unless someone has questions for me.
Does anyone have questions for Ms. Lansing? If not, thank you, Ms. Lansing. We'll move on to committee reports. Finance Committee. Ms. Beck.
Sure. You all received the financials in your packet. I guess one of the recommendations would be, since I'm chair, I should make recommendations once in a while, is that I know it's a lot of figures, it's a lot of pages and a lot of figures to look at every month. I have found most interesting is the charts. By glancing at the charts quickly on them, it really points out anything that you then can take a look at. But you know, I'm not trying to keep it simple, but for me, that makes it very easy for me to tell where we are expenses. I hate that whatsoever. Just a quick review, the expense summary budget is the actual for the period of 9/1/23, so through 6/30/24, covers 83% of our fiscal year. To date, the actual expenses and encumbrances are at 74% of the budget. And the only other thing is financial statement includes revenue and expenses for the period of 9/1/23 through 5/31/24. Revenue includes billing activities through 5/31/24 and covers the fall of 23, winter of 24, spring of 24, and summer of 24 semesters. This is 105.7% of our tuition budget, and expenses are at 66% of the budget. We do have a resolution to pass, and it's the recommendation of the president recommends that the Board of Trustees approve the 23-24 budget transfer. And I think you all will see the listed amounts which are at the level of 5,000 we're responsible for always having to approve. So we will need a motion for that, or I will make a motion. I'll make the motion.
We have a motion on the floor. I have a second. Second by Trustee Wilson. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks. Hearing none, motion passed.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Beck. We will now move on to Trustee Lanfield, Buildings and Grounds.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a few things we'd like to point out in written reporting packet that paving phase 1 bids out and scheduled to be open. That order to Fulton County Finance Committee for the start of the process on this close. And the new signage is complete. And we just want to point out those two things in the buildings and grounds. That concludes the report. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Lantrail. Do you have any questions for Mr. Lantrail? If not, we'll move on to academic affairs by Arlene Spencer. Oh, academic affairs is, excuse me.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate it.
I put it in the wrong spot.
That's quite all right. So yeah, just a few things. The Rad Tech class of 2024, 100% pass rate on their radiography registry exam. So kudos to that group. There were articulation agreements signed last month, both Syracuse University and Western Governors University. And then finally, Professor Waffle presented in Washington, D.C. as part of the HIPS team to discuss the implementation of the website. So, well,
Trustee Press. Now, we'll move on to student affairs. Arlene Spencer.
So as. Busy with that. We had sessions in June, they were at the FMCC night, reading, graduating class seniors from one of the high schools. FMCC search, if you will. They hosted a local guidance counselor breakfast, and they also showcased our partnership with Wellbeing Elementary School children. On June 12th and 13th. Two students in our ELP program, Michael D'Angelo and Luis Malvaldo Aponte, attended the summer leadership. They're going to be helping us out in our ELP summer program. They're really both really nice young men, and really fine examples of how students succeed, and they're going to the program and STEP, Science Technology Entry Program, both started their summer programs this month, and will continue through July. And lastly, FMCC received an invitation to host the SUNY Student Assembly Executive Committee meeting in January. And the SUNY student trustee, Giovanni Harvey, he's an FMCC alum, and it's nice to that he's remained so engaged in matters in higher education. Graduated from FM, then went on to SUNY Poly for his bachelor's, and is now at Uvalde for his master's program. So it's nice that he's thinking of us and our students to keep it up. Have our students get out to students. So that's the end.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for Professor Spencer? No. We'll move on to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Professor Van Black. I'll get it. Yeah.
Well, it's Nelson Mandela Day today. Like that. That's something to consider. This will be brief. The big thing is the conference, the meeting conference, where the presentation on creating a learning community and creating mindfulness, discussion, and nonviolent communication to the DISG classroom. And like I said, I'd like to get out there and see if one would makes sense to people. And nice that day I got like 6 emails from people saying, "Hey, just send us your presentation. We can phone for this about it." So that's good. So I'm glad to hear that. What we're doing here with this is significant to people. So positive. The other little thing, I met a agriculture person at the co-op that I spent time in down in Albany, and there's a little thing about holiday Easter's flower and how that was related to African American cultures. That's great.
Have any questions for Professor Van Black? Not. We'll move on to accreditation with Dr. Chuckerberg. No report. Okay, move on to personnel. Personnel, Pat Grandy will assume the role of acting dean of academic affairs beginning August 5th. Vacancies, we have a senior HR administrator full-time, search in progress, and a biology faculty full-time, grant funded, search in progress. That concludes personnel, unless there's any questions. If not, we'll move on to policy with trustee Bethany Schumer McGee. Checklist?
So does somebody get personnel?
Did personnel.
Oh,
I had no report this evening.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other business for the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, hearing none? Told you. Fast.